Hey guys, Jocelyn here with Fantasia Elegance. Per request on my previous video, I am here today to show you how to do some maintenance on your steel bench blocks. As you can see, mine has developed some rust spots here. That's totally normal. That does happen with your steel tools, and it's pretty simple to restore the finish on this. So I'm going to be showing you one way to do that here in this video today. And while I will be working on my steel bench block, this will work on any steel tools you have that may have developed some rust or pitting. So there are a couple different methods you can use. You can use a chemical product to actually react with the rust and remove it that way. I will link in the description section below a few options if you want to go that route. There are also other videos on YouTube you can find with DIY homemade solutions you can use for that. What I'm going to be doing in this video is actually physically removing the rust and the pitting. I do like this method more with my steel bench blocks because it really helps restore that nice smooth finish, which you do want if you're hammering stuff out on this, because any little dimples or dents or even raised portions from the rust will impart that texture to whatever jewelry you're hammering on here. So for that reason, I'm going to be using a sandpaper method. And I have here sandpaper in a bunch of different grits, ranging from 100 up to 600. Again, I'll leave links in the description section below for everything I'm using and where you can get it, so feel free to check that out. Since we will be sanding metal, I do recommend that you wear some safety protection, a mask to prevent breathing in the particles we're going to be sanding, and you may also want some eye protection just to avoid, if you have to rub your eye, you don't want to be getting metal particles and sandpaper in your eye. So just a quick safety note there, please do this carefully. And very simply what we're going to do is start with the coarsest grit we have. I'm going to lay it on a flat surface here. And it can be helpful if you have some painter's tape. You can secure the edges of your sandpaper on a flat surface. Of course, if you have a sanding block, you can use that. Or a power sanding tool would make this even easier. But I'm very simply going to start with my 100 grit sandpaper here. I'm going to take the surface of the bench block that I need to refinish. And I'm just going to go in kind of little figure 8 motions all over the sandpaper. It's important as you're sanding this out that you don't want to just go back and forth in one direction, because that will create grooves or scores in the surface of your bench block. And of course we want to wind up with a totally smooth surface. So I'm kind of going to do little figure 8s all over this 100 grit sandpaper to start with. And you want to keep going until you have removed all the visible surface rust. So as you can see, I need to go a little bit longer on mine here. So this is what my block is looking like now after going over it with the 100 grit sandpaper. I do still have some minor areas of discoloration here, just because my block was in such bad shape. Some of these stains have gotten a little bit deeper, and I don't want to go so far that I'm, removing a lot of this bench block. If I feel over this, it's totally smooth now. So I have gotten rid of all the rust. I think these remaining spots are, like I said, just stains, whether from, something I got on the bench block or deeper imperfections that I'm probably not going to remove with this method. But basically you just want to go until when you feel over this, you're not feeling any rough, scratchy rust spots. So at that point, what we want to do is continue on up through our different grits of sandpaper so that we can restore that really nice smooth finish to this bench block. As you can see, it's got lots of little marks from that rough grit sandpaper we were using. So I'm going to switch on over now to my 150 grit sandpaper, and we're going to do the exact same thing, except we probably don't need to go for quite as long since we've already removed the bulk of the issues we had going on. Alright, so our block is starting to get a little bit smoother here. We're removing some of those marks. Again, I'm just going to keep doing that, going up through all the different grits of sandpaper. My finest grit I have here is 600, so we will go ahead and do that and then come back together. Alright, so this is my block after going through all my grits of sandpaper. As you can see, it's got a nice, smooth, shiny finish once again. And I would, of course, do that process on all the sides of my bench block, but for the purposes of keeping this video shorter, I'm just doing the one side for now. So to maintain your bench block and keep it from rusting as quickly in the future, there are a couple different things you can do. Of course, it is exposure to moisture, whether in the air or on your hands, that can cause your bench block to deteriorate in the first place. So if you can avoid that, that is the main thing. If you're not going to be using your bench block for long periods of time, you can keep it stored in a sealed Ziploc bag. You can put it in like a Tupperware container with rice or something to absorb the moisture out of the air. I use mine frequently enough, that's not really an option for me. So the other thing you can do is to treat this with some kind of conditioner or oil. You can use mineral oil or machine oil, they're basically both the same thing, just to apply to this to kind of provide a little barrier from the moisture that can get in at the steel. There is also a special product just for preventing rust, which I quite like. It's called BoShield T9. Again, I'll leave a link in the description section below for where you can get this off of Amazon. But very simply, you'll put a little bit of this on the bench block, rub it all in with a cloth, and then keep rubbing until there is no residue left. It doesn't take very much, a little goes a long way. And I just have a old terry cloth rag here I'm going to use to rub that in all over. And again, after finishing all the surfaces of your bench block, you would want to treat all the surfaces. And you want to really keep rubbing this to make sure you're not going to get any oily residue coming off on your jewelry. So I'm going to switch to a clean side of the cloth and continue rubbing that. But this will just help extend the life of your bench block, and you won't have to go as long between sanding sessions, which is good. So there is our nice, smooth, finished surface. Like I said, you can use this on any steel tools you have that may have gotten rusty. You do just want to be careful if it's something with a cutting edge. You don't want to sand that cutting edge because that will, of course, make it not sharp anymore. So for something like that, like wire snips or shears, I would probably use one of the chemical methods that I will, again, link in the description section below. So I hope you guys found this short little tutorial helpful. Leave me a comment below if you have any questions about this. I'm not an expert on, refinishing steel tools. This is just the method I found that works well for me. And I'm sure there are lots of other great videos on YouTube for other methods you can do. But this works very well for me, so I thought I'd pass it along to you guys. Hope everyone is staying safe and well. I will catch you in the next video. Happy crafting!